do personally think it's a little bit overhyped. Don't ever ask me that giggling, kicking my feet at that man. And I think it's time. I need to prioritize the Crimson Moth. Guys, oh my god, we made it to the end of Bookmas. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. And welcome to the last episode of Bookmas. This is my end of year book tag. I have selected a few questions I've seen in other videos, so we're going to answer them today. And I'm also going to include some of my anticipated releases for 2026 and a reading goal for 2026 also. Let's just get right on into the video and let's just sit and yap about books together. First question is most disappointing read of the year. I did answer some of these questions just so I was prepared for this video, and I have added two to this answer. First one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I really did have high hopes for this book. I've seen a lot of good things about it. I thought it would be something I'd be interested in, but I just didn't love it the way I thought I was gonna love it, and that's why it was disappointing to me. Not that it was a bad book in any way, but I just thought I would enjoy it more, and I think that's why. I didn't really connect to the main characters really at all, and I think that doesn't help me. I need to like connect to their story and things like that. Just found it a little bit boring at some parts, and I hate saying that. I'm so sorry if that's one of your faves, but I just didn't end up loving that book. And then another one I added to that list over the last week or so was Good Spirits by B.K. Barson, but I ended up giving that book 3 stars, and I was really sad about it because I had seen so much stuff online, so many good things, so many people were saying it was like one of their favorite festive reads and they were giving it 5 stars. I was like, okay, I think I'll like this, and I liked the concept. I thought it had such good potential. It just didn't hit for me, and it just wasn't for me. Really wanted to like it, but you never know, I might really enjoy one of her other books. But yeah, that was also a disappointing read for me this year. What was an underdog book for me this year? And a book that came instantly to mind was May Luna by Kelly McNeil. I adored that book so much. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good, like I can't even describe it. I literally have not been able to stop thinking about it since I read it, and I literally read it in like May, I think. It was just so good. I just enjoyed it so much. I loved the storyline. I loved the like plot twist, even though it made me cry. It literally made me cry. I am a fangirl. I was a directioner. I still am a directioner, and it just sounded like a fanfic. And that's what it gave, but not in the way it was written, just like the story and the concept and all of these things. Like I thought I would love it, but I didn't think I'd love it as much. Few people I had seen talking about it were talking about it at the time, but it didn't really blow up like you would kind of see, and I don't know why, because it was so good. So yeah, that is definitely the underdog book of the year for me. What was an overhyped book you read? A lot of people will hate that I'm saying this, but in my opinion, an overhyped book I read was Magnolia Parks. I am so sorry if that is your favourite book, because I know it is so many people's favourite book, favourite series, but it just wasn't for me. It really wasn't, and I was expecting to really enjoy it, and I was actually hoping I would really enjoy it so I would have a whole new series to get involved in and be obsessed with, but it just didn't do it for me. I do have a reading vlog on that on my channel if you want to go see my full thoughts on that, but I gave it like 2.5 stars. I'm so sorry, it just wasn't for me, and I do personally think it's a little bit overhyped for the type of story it is. Maybe it was a me problem. I think I said this in the video. It might have been just a me problem. I should have probably DNF'd that book and maybe given it another chance at a different time, but yeah, I have no desire to pick up the other books either. Okay, a book that surprised you this year. I actually put 2 down for this. I put 2 down for a lot of these because I read a lot of different types of books this year, and a lot of them fit into different categories, and I didn't want to just try pick one because it's so hard to just pick one for each. It was one, Pippo and Clara, and I did read this in a reading vlog, reading my bestie's 5-star reads. This was one of the books she chose for me to read. It surprised me how much I enjoyed that book and how much it made me feel and how impactful it was to me. Pippo and Clara is a historical fiction, and we're basically following a brother and sister, Pippo and Clara, during World War II. At the start of the book they get separated, basically showing their lives and how they grow up in different views of life for the families they end up with. And it's very interesting, very good, and you are literally on the edge of your seat. You want them to find each other and get back to each other so bad, and then it hits you with that ending. I also cried at that book, so that book surprised me so much how much I really enjoyed it and how much it impacted me. I'm so glad I read it. That's a book that I would recommend to anybody to read as well. As much as it is heartbreaking, I think those type of stories are very important to read. And another one for that I put down was The Naturals, which is literally the complete opposite. The Naturals is kind of it's like a mystery, maybe kind of thriller, not really. Definitely YA in parts as well. Yeah, I just was surprised how much I enjoyed The Naturals, and I literally bought the next two in the series when I finished the first one because I was like, I need to simply know what happens with these characters. I wasn't expecting to enjoy like a YA book as much, but I think because it was an easy read and the characters are likable and it was like fast paced, I just had a good time with it, and I'm so excited to finish that series. Like, it's just such a good one, and I've heard that the third book in the series, All In, is like a 5-star read for people, so I'm so excited. I literally have that one on my shelf, and that is going to be like priority read for 2026 for sure. Okay, this is a fun question, the next one. Your favorite book couple / couples of the year. And I wrote down a few for this because I just read so many good romance books this year. When I was reflecting on this, I was like, I actually had such a good time with the books I read this year. First on the list is Sarah and Caleb from Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. Oh my god, I loved their story so much. It's second chance, they're married, they're kind of in a rough patch and they want to rekindle things with each other, and it's just such a wholesome, loving story. I also gave that book 5 stars. I related to Sarah in a way as well. Some of the things that she was talking about or saying about herself, I was like, why are we the same? Why are we the same? And Caleb is just, he was just so wholesome, and honestly, like, I was sitting blushing, giggling, kicking my feet at that man. I don't know why. I was like, Caleb, why are you so funny? And why are you like making me smile? And he did so many cute little things for her in that book. And the way he spoke to her, the way he treated her, I was just like, we all need a Caleb in our lives. I also added Cassian and Nesta from Silver Flames in here. One thing about me is I am a Cassian girl through and through. Silver Flames is probably my favourite book in the ACOTAR series. Even though the ACOTAR books are more serious when it gets to A Court of Wings and Ruin, when the war is happening. He was also just a little bit of comedic relief, I felt, and I love the best friend from the main character in a book or a movie or a TV show, whatever it is. I will be more interested in the best friend than the actual main character sometimes. So he was just, I loved him and I couldn't wait for his story. And as much as like Nesta is harsh, kind of mean to her sisters, I knew that there was more to her. The character development was so good for her, and even for Cassian in a way. And the family in her book, I just loved the two of them and their like connection together. I always see people talking on like other apps and things about how they don't believe Cassian and Nesta, and they don't believe Cassian is her mate and things. And I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Now, I could be so wrong. The next ACOTAR book could come out and I'll be eating my words. But I just feel like they're made for each other. Another book couple I loved this year is Joni and Sebastian from Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This was like one of my favourite books of the summer. I adored their story. I loved them. I loved Sebastian as a character. The way they were connected at the end of that story, I just loved it. I loved their dynamic. He was, again, kind of funny, made me like giggle, kick my feet. Can you see like the pattern going on here? I thought they were so like good for each other, even though like the way they met wasn't so great, and their connection in the book grew from what they were experiencing together. Adored it. Adore them. Last on that list, I have Molly and Andrew from Holiday Romance. I read Holiday Romance in my reading festive books for a week. If you want to see my full thoughts on that, you can go watch that video. I just love the two of them. It helps that they're both Irish, that book is set in Ireland. Molly and Andrew just have a special place in my heart, and they always will. My favourite main characters of the year. First on this list is Merrin from Direbound. She is such a strong female character. This might be a spoiler, so if you haven't read this book, just skip like a couple of seconds because I'm gonna say something here. When her sister was taken from her and she went missing, she was determined. She was like, anybody who gets in my way, they are gone. I am getting to my sister. I am gonna find my sister. She was just like so headstrong, so determined, didn't care what people would think of her, and I like literally adored her. A fantasy book, sometimes the female main characters are like kind of weak and then she comes into herself, and that's fine. I love a story that these main characters in general find themselves and find their strength, but she already had that. She knew that she was strong and I loved that about her. I mentioned Sarah before in my favourite couples, but she was also a favourite main character for me because again I related to her a lot and I didn't realise I would, and I just really liked her as a person. She's funny, very caring, and you can tell that the people in her life she like loves with her entire being, and I just loved that about her. I realise now that my whole list for favourite characters are the female characters, but listen, that's fine. We're here now. I also put Win from Out on a Limb. I loved her so much. Again, another strong woman. These are all strong women in their own way. I loved how she was, when she was dealt with the situation she was dealt with, she was like, no, I'm gonna do this and I'm prepared to do it. I just really liked her as well, and also a really caring person. Another character that I really liked was Prue from People Watching. This is 3 books now by Hannah Bonham Young. Yeah, I loved Prue, and people didn't like People Watching the book and didn't like Prue as a character, but I liked her. I really could relate to her in certain ways. She was such a selfless, kind person. I liked how she was confident in herself when, I'm getting so deep now, but like society in a way would be like you shouldn't be confident because of her experience in life, and I liked how she was confident with it in her own way. I liked that about her, and I think she's a really relatable character in just the way her life was and what she wanted for herself and stuff as well. New favourite author you discovered this year? It's gotta go to Hannah Bonham Young. I read 3 of her books. I just adore her writing. I loved all of the stories and I loved all the characters in them, and I want to read more. I want to read her older books. She's definitely a new favourite author for me that I discovered this year. The most frustrating read of this year has to go to Magnolia Parks. I know I've already given Magnolia Parks as an answer, but it has to, because I was extremely frustrated while reading that book because I just wanted them to speak and communicate. I don't want to keep talking about it, but yeah. The longest book I read this year was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas, and that was 757 pages, and I literally could not put that book down. The shortest book I read this year was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I did include Merrily Ever After, which was the collection of short stories by Catherine Walsh. Naturals is like, I think not even 300 pages. It's actually just over, so it was 308 pages for The Naturals. And Merrily Ever After was 196 pages because that was only like a collection of short stories. Favourite covers of the year? This was kind of hard to decide. So I picked People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. I loved the cover, I loved the vibe of that, very autumnal. If It Makes You Happy as well by Julie Olivia. That is also a very autumnal book, and I love covers like that where you can like see the characters on it and you can kind of get a vibe then. A book I haven't stopped thinking about, I did mention May Luna already, but another book I haven't stopped thinking about, quite honestly, is Fourth Wing. There's something in that first book, Fourth Wing, I don't know. I just sit there sometimes as well and think about Fourth Wing and think about those characters and think, what's gonna happen next? Unpopular book I loved this year was People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. I've seen so many people not like that book, and that's fair enough, like you're not gonna like every book, but I really enjoyed it. I still gave it 3.75 stars. I really liked it and people just didn't seem to love it. Lowest rated on Goodreads and highest. Do I agree with them? Lowest rated on Goodreads is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young with 3.57 stars. Do I agree with that? No, but also I gave it 3.75, so it's not far off my rating, but I don't agree with it being the lowest rated. Highest rated was A Court of Silver Flames with 4.45 stars on Goodreads. Do I agree with that? I do. I gave that book 5 stars. That was my favourite book, as I said, in the ACOTAR series so far. I just loved it, and I do agree with that high rating. Book you read this year that you would reread? 100% May Luna. I want to reread that instantly after I finished it. And I put Court of Silver Flames as well because I felt the same way when I finished that book. I was like, I really just want to reread this. I want to go back to the start and start all over again. I didn't include a favourite book of the year because I'm really not sure what my book of the year would actually be. I do have a couple in mind, but I just don't know. I can't pick. There's too many good ones. It's so hard. Don't ever ask me that it's too hard to pick one. It's too hard. So now I'm going to talk about my Goodreads, or my reading goal in general this year and how it went, and also my reading goal for next year. The start of the year for my reading goal, I think I put 20 books down, because the year before I actually read barely any books because I was just like in a slump with reading for 2024. I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, I really want to aim to get 20 read. And then I think it must have been halfway through the year I read a lot more than I thought I would. I think I got to 19 books, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna up it to 25. So I changed the goal to 25 for the rest of the year. I was like, I think I can do that. I hit my reading. I actually don't know when I hit my reading goal, but I surpassed the reading goal this year, which I'm so proud of myself for. I actually have read 28 books this year altogether, and I still have 9 days left as I'm filming this video. I didn't expect that of this year, honestly. I didn't think I would get 20 books read, but yeah, I did, and I'm very happy with myself for that. So a reading goal for 2026, I think as of right now, I'm gonna put my reading goal as 35 books. I think I can do that, especially because at the start of the year, January, February, March, I think maybe April as well, I literally only read like 1 or 2 books each month, but since then I have been reading like 3 to 4 books a month, and I think I could get to the 35. So the goal I will be putting in my Goodreads, in my Fable, in my reading journal, 35 books for 2026. I'm going to talk about like prioritized books and anticipated releases for 2026 now, just to end off this video. I think that could be fun. I do have a list of priority reads, so I've actually decided to do a 12 books for 2026. So the 12 books that I really hope I get to for 2026. I have 5, I actually have 6 on that list, but one of them I am already reading, which is Beartown, so that is going to be ticked before the new year. So the first on that list is Throne of Glass. I have read Akatar, one of my favourite series. I then read Fourth Wing as the next kind of fantasy series. Then I went on to, of course, Direbound, and now I think I'm ready for Throne of Glass. I think I want to be in the know. I think I want to indulge in the world of Throne of Glass. I think I'm just like in the mood for it. I'm in the mood to have a, however many, I think it's 8 book series to just devour. A priority for next year is start Throne of Glass. We'll see how it goes. Next is actually a classic, so I'd love to read like Pride and Prejudice or Little Women. It would be challenging for me as a reader, and I want to give myself more challenges for next year. Next on that list is Metal Slinger. I have seen so many people talk about this. It's another fantasy. The second book of this is actually coming out next year. I have been wanting to read that for like over a year now. When I first saw people talking about it, I was like, yep, instantly going on my list, and I still haven't read it, so that's definitely a priority for next year. If you are a frequent watcher from me, this next book will not be a surprise for you, but next on that list, it actually should be at the top of this list, is The Crimson Moth. I need to shut up about this book. I don't know why I'm so excited to read it. I just feel like I'm gonna adore it. I'm just gonna really have so much fun with it. I've seen so many good things, and I think it's time. I need to prioritize The Crimson Moth. Then last that I have on that list so far is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I've seen so many people adore this book, 5 stars, like literally crying at the end, and I'm like, guys, I need to know. And I've never read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, so this is also coinciding with I want to branch out. I want to be open to different genres and different authors next year. So I'm going to talk about some of my anticipated releases for 2026. First on that list is Furybound by Sable Sorensen, and that is the second book in, I don't actually know what the Direbound series is called, but that is the second book to Direbound, and I'm so excited for that. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I have it pre-ordered. I cannot wait for it to come. Just can't wait to see how this story progresses. This is a romantasy, and I can't wait for that in the book too. Oh my god, I don't want to say too much, but I'm just so excited to finally see a bit more of the romantasy as well for the characters in that book. Next anticipated release is How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. I will continue, as I keep saying, to talk about Catherine Walsh on my channel because she is one of my favourite authors. It's writer slash editor, Irish summer, forced proximity, all the vibes. I'm so excited for that book. Next is The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston, another one of my favourite authors. adore her writing. I've loved all of her books. All of her books are 4-star and over, 2 of which are 5 stars, so I'm so excited for the Someday Garden. The next one is Our Deadly Summer, which is not going to be one that people will hear of much because it is written by 2 Irish authors, and they have written one of my favourite series, which is the Aisling series. That is by those 2 authors, Emer and Sarah, and it is their new book. It is completely different, sounds completely different to what they have written before in the Aisling series, and it's basically about 2 best friends who I think were in New York, and I think together they don't talk about it, move on, and then it's like years in the future where they try rekindle a friendship. I think that's the vibe of it. It just sounds very interesting. Last anticipated release for 2026 so far anyway is People Pleasing by Hannah Bonham Young. I saw this on her Instagram and she hasn't really said much more about it, but she is coming out with a second book, an interconnected standalone to go along with People Watching, and it is about Milo's sister and their friend Alex, I think his name was. I'm really intrigued by Milo's sister's story because of their childhood and what they experienced, and when Milo left she was on her own, and I would like to see how that impacted her, and I also can't wait for the romance in that as well because I know it's gonna be a good one. That is the end of this video. That is my end of year book tag. I had such fun reading this year. I think I really fell in love with reading again. When I started reading I loved it instantly, and I was like, why haven't I been doing this like my whole life? Yeah, I think this year my love for reading and the spark for reading really picked up again, which I'm so happy about. And also I had so much fun sharing my reading experience with the people who have watched my videos. I know I am such a small channel still, but I just love creating these videos, and even though they don't get thousands, hundreds of views, I still love creating and uploading, and I will continue to do so in 2026. But if you have come across me this year, or if you are an old viewer, or if you are a frequent watcher, you're a new watcher, you're finding me through this video, you found me videos ago, whatever it is, thank you so much for watching, being here, experiencing the latter half of 2025 with me. So excited to continue creating these videos. So if you have stuck around with me, thank you so much. It really does mean the world. I hope if you are new and watching this video and have gotten this far that you will stick around also, and we can spend 2026 together chatting, yapping about books and just general life things. But I hopefully will see you very, very soon in the new year. Bye guys.